Hey, if you're a Christian dad and you care deeply about winning as a father, but you feel like maybe you're stretched thin, you're distracted, you're stressed, you're emotionally unavailable, or you're just worried maybe that you're missing what matters most with your kids, then I want you to lean into this episode today. A lot of fathers are working hard to provide for their families, to lead, but quietly, at least, many of us feel like time is moving so fast. I don't know about you, but man, I feel like that's true for me. It's hard to be fully present as a husband, as a father, as a man. You're working, you're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to be winning in all of these different areas of your life. It feels like, gosh, I don't have enough time to be great in all of these areas. And so many times as dads, there's this quiet desperation almost of just feeling, man, I don't know how to slow time down, or I don't know how to go back in time and do it all over. Now, again, you're not going to be able to do that. I can't do that. And these are 7 things that I'm going to talk to you about today that I was kind of thinking about that I would do differently. But in reality, to be honest with you, these are 7 things I need to continue to get better at today. Yes, I would have done these differently. I would have lived more intentionally like this if I could go back. But the reality is, I can't. And the reality for you is, you can't either. So I want you, if you're a young father, I want you to look at this really carefully today and think hard about your role as a father and how you're going to live intentionally in that way. And I think these 7 things could benefit you like crazy. If you're in the middle of it and your kids are still at home, then obviously there's certain things you can't redo, but you can get better from here. And if you're a father whose kids are all out of the house, then yeah, there's things that you might go, I can't do that time different, but maybe you can make up for it as a father, as a grandfather, or maybe you can figure out ways to implement some of these with your grown kids. I don't know. But I want you to listen carefully to these 7 things and just think about, how can you live a more intentional life? If you go to getinthefight.club, you'll see that we are here to help Christian men win where it matters most. And one of those areas is as fathers. How do we win in this area as a father? Now, here's the thing. Until the day that God calls you home, until the day that you die, if you have kids, you are a father and you're needed in the fight. You're needed to be present. You're needed to be living intentionally, to figure out, like, look, those kids, even though they're grown, they need you. They want you in their life in some way. And so many of us are going to feel like, gosh, so much regret, so much shame, so much what if. And I want you to put that to the side, as hard as that is to do. And I just want you to think, okay, no matter what, no matter where I'm at in this journey with my kids, how can I live a more intentional life? How can I win from here forward? That's really what this is about. So, as much as these are 7 things that I would do differently if I could start over, they're really 7 things that we could do better no matter where we're at on this journey. And so let's jump into that. And again, maybe you're really good at some of these, and maybe there's just one area where if you took that one area and lived more intentionally, it'll help you to win. It'll help you to be a closer version of that dad that you've always wanted to be, that your kids want you to be, or your grandkids, however this is going to play out for you. And if that's the case, that you can just get better in one area, that's awesome. Maybe it's all 7. Maybe you're going to slow this down and think, man, I need to get better in all of these. Cool. Whatever it is, I just want you to pray your way through this. I want you to think about living intentionally, right? Don't beat yourself up here and go, gosh, I've screwed up all 7 of these and more. Don't do that. The point is simply to get better, to live intentionally from today forward. Okay? So let's just jump right in. Just some off the cuff ideas here. 7 things I wrote down that I think, gosh, I wish I would have done better at, and things that I want to get better at from here forward with my kids. Quick backdrop just for those that don't know my story as a father or where I'm at. I have 4 kids. When I was growing up, actually, as a son in my parents' home, it was just me and then 4 sisters. Fast forward to today, I got married 22 years ago as of this recording, and God gave me 4 daughters. So little did I know, I was being prepped my whole life to be surrounded by women. So I have 4 daughters anyways, that range from married and out of the house and about to have our first grandson to 12 years old. So everywhere in between 12 and 20. is where I'm currently at as of this recording. And again, I'm a dad and I have kids that are out of the house. How do I keep being an intentional father for my kids who are out of the house, those who will be leaving sometime soon, I'm sure, and those who still have several more years with us, Lord willing. I'm right in the middle of that anyways, is where I'm at, but I'm really trying to be introspective in this, thinking, okay, how do I get better? What would I have done differently, and what do I need to do differently from here on out? Here's 7 things. The first one, I would slow down more. I think the pace of life is so fast, and it's often chasing after things that are necessary and oftentimes good. But I would try to find a way to slow it down. And again, ask guys, ask dads who have been through it, whose kids are gone, who love their kids and loved having their kids around. Ask them what they think about that. And they're going to say, man, whatever it takes, slow it down. It goes so stinking fast. Many of you probably are shaking your heads like, yeah, where did it go? Where did the time go? For me, I can't even hardly believe that I'm about to be a grandpa within a week, as of this recording, within a week. How amazing. How did that happen? Like, where did the time go? If I was you and I could do this over, if I was me and I could do this over, I would try really hard to slow things down, to fully experience fatherhood, to soak in the mundane and the boring moments, the time where you're just sitting around watching America's Funniest Videos or watching your kids ride their bikes or whatever it might be, just slowing down. I wish that the small moments I would have taken more advantage of. How about you? It's not the Disney trips that I need to slow down more in. It's the everyday stuff where there's nothing going on. The kids are bored out of their minds. They're complaining about there's nothing to do. And it's just enjoying that, enjoying the fact that I have kids at home, slowing it down, right? Just remembering to be all the way there, fully present. That's the first thing I thought of that I would do different. How about you? Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Nate Whitson podcast. I wanted to interrupt the show just for a second to let you know that there are all kinds of great resources for Christian men who want to be better husbands, better fathers, better followers of Jesus, and just better men in general. If that's you or maybe somebody that you know, then be sure to head over to getinthefight.club, that's .club, and check out the books and resources, the coaching material, the newsletter, the Fight Club. There's so much there for you. Getinthefight.club. Check it out today. If you're serious about being the man that God meant for you to be and you're looking for tools or resources or just help in general, then be sure to head over there right now and check it out. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Now back to the Nate Whitson podcast. Number 2, I said I would put my phone down more. A lot of dads are home physically, but mentally we're unavailable. And as I thought about this one, man, this one hit home because I feel the tension of this one because I like being on my phone. I use my phone for work. I use my phone for fun. I use it like you probably use it. I use it for everything. Everything, we're like tethered to our phones. And so the idea of like, how do I learn to control this so that this doesn't control me is a big issue. It's something that, again, gets in the way of slowing life down. We're wanting to be more present, slowing it down and being more fully there and fully aware of our kids. And the phone, man, the phone is a distraction, right? And kids know when they are competing for your attention. If I have to put my phone down because my kid is talking to me, and then I put my phone back up and they're still trying to have a conversation, I have to put it down. Yeah, you're putting your phone down, but the phone is a problem. We need to slow this down. We need to recognize, what would I do differently? How do I win as a dad? This is the whole point. This is how you want to filter each of these. What do I need to do to win? And maybe you need to ask, what does winning even look like? What would it be like to be my kid? And how do I be the best dad that I could be? Well, again, when it comes to your phone, what do you need to do? How distracted are you with it? Are you scrolling? Are you constantly on there? Are you emotionally unavailable because you're just zoned out, right? Are you constantly needing to have your phone on you? Check out how much time you spend on there. If you've never done that, go to your system settings and just see, on average, how many hours are you on your phone, and just compare that or look at that. Again, not to beat yourself up, but just simply to be honest. Like, man, if I'm on my phone 4 hours a day, how much of that time intersects with when I could have been with my kids, when I could have been a little bit more present with them. How divided is my attention really? Pay attention to your phone. I would control that phone a lot more if I could go back and do it again. And again, from here on out, I need to control my phone some more. Number 3, I just said this. I would worry less about monetary success. Now, me and you, probably as dads, feel that pressure to succeed, to achieve more, to provide more perfectly, to even just, again, to have nicer things, right? But kids often care less about your success than you do, meaning they don't really care about the house. They don't really care about whether or not you had a beat up car or not. They don't really care about that stuff. We think, I need to provide more for my kids. I need them to have this fuller experience. I need them to have that. You know what they really want? Do you know what they really need? A fully present dad. What they really need is your warmth. They need to laugh with you. They need consistency from you. They need you to have an undivided attention when they're with you. They need your availability. They need your love, right? They need these things. Your kids don't need a superhero. They don't need a millionaire. They need a dad. They need a fully invested dad. And I just want you to think about your own story when it comes to you chasing monetary success and climbing this ladder. It's the cost when it comes to your fatherhood and how your kids perceive growing up at your home. What are the things that you're sacrificing today to make it more financially secure? But later you might look back and go, gosh, I traded the wrong thing, right? Again, everybody's going to be at a different level of this, but for me, I might have just worried a little bit less about that and slowed things down, trusted in the Lord to know that it's going to be okay. He's with me. Don't miss these years, though, with my kids. The 4th thing I said is I would be more intentional spiritually with them. And this is a big one for us as Christian dads, isn't it? A lot of the dads that I talk to are guys that are good at attending church. They're guys that at least pray at meals, right? They're guys that are good guys. And for many of us, a lot of us dads are kind of like, okay, I did my part. I'm not a pastor. I got them to church. I got them to youth group. I got them where they needed to go. They knew that we love the Lord in our house. So should be good, right? But spiritual leadership is often much smaller. It's simpler than that. The Deuteronomy passage that when you're walking along the road, when you wake up and when you go to bed, it's this idea that daily you as a dad are spiritually leading your home by praying with your kids. Let's just pause there for a second. When's the last time that you just prayed with your kids? And if you said, hey, can we pray about this together? Would your kids go, what is wrong with you? What is happening? What's wrong? This is weird. Or is that just naturally a part of what your life is like? If it would be more of the weird thing, then let's fix that. How do you live more intentionally so that praying with your kids wouldn't be this strange thing? How about just throughout the day having talks with them about God just naturally? How about just modeling repentance with them? How about just showing consistency that you yourself are in God's word? You yourself are growing. You yourself are accountable. You yourself are really fully bought into Christ and his mission. Your example disciples your kids more than the things that you say. The dad who says, hey, we're going to put Jesus first here, but doesn't really live that, those kids know that, they see through that. And so sometimes when I think about what I would do different and how I would be more intentional spiritually, it's the smaller things, not the big things. Yes, I'm going to make sure I'm at church. I'm going to consistently do that. But I want them to catch me reading my Bible. I want them to catch me praying on my knees, praying with my wife. I want them to see me modeling day to day that I myself care about Christ and I myself am in it. And I think that example of me living intentionally spiritually helps me to lead them better as a dad. And I think that might be the case for you too, but just for yourself, what would you do differently if you were to live a more intentional life as a dad and you wanted to lead your kids spiritually? What would that look like for you. That's really where I want you to go with that. The fifth thing I said was that I would control my anger and my stress better. I don't think that many of us as dads probably recognize or realize just how much of the emotional tone we set in the home. As a dad, our tension from work comes with us from the office. Our frustrations at life, at bills, at just real life things that are happening that are stressing us out, that are frustrating us. We bring that home. We bring that irritability wherever we go. We bring that emotional volatility where dad can be either the life of the party or dad can just be this crazy guy, this nag, this annoying dad, this dad that is super inconsistent. Now, your kids hopefully trust that you mean, but what they really need is a dad who is predictable. There's nothing that feels more unsafe to a kid than a dad who is volatile, a dad who is inconsistent. They have no idea from one moment to the next what they're going to get from him. And so controlling your anger, controlling your stress, and recognizing, slowing down, going, man, as the father goes, so goes the home. May we do a better job at these things. I remember one time, I'm sure I've shared this story here before, but this was just a silly example, but it's one that was real. I'm a diehard Michigan fan. And so we're watching at home. The kids are little. I think it was just probably two of the kids were born, my two oldest, but they were little at the time. We're watching the Michigan-Ohio State game. And something happened that didn't go Michigan's way. And I slammed the table super hard. And I was like, doggone it. And I was like ticked off. I probably stood up and I don't even know, acted like a fool. But my kids had never seen me genuinely ticked off and frustrated. And I smacked the table so hard and whatever. And I remember looking down at Aubrey and she was just looking at me with wide eyes like, holy crap, what is that? What is this anger? What is this? What is happening with my dad? And again, like that was a silly thing. I probably picked her up and threw her in the air, and Michigan, I'm sure, won the game. And so everything was good. Like it's one of those things that hit me though, man, the emotional outburst, the instability or unpredictability of a dad can really just negatively impact a home. And so if I was to go back in time, I would control my anger and stress better. And again, going forward, I will do the same. Number 6, I said that I would focus more on their heart than on their behavior. More on their heart than on their behavior. When a kid messes up, like we all do, like they're all going to do, it's easy to just simply look at the behavior issue and try to correct the behavior without ever saying or questioning what's going on the inside. And it's a big reason why you as a man listening to this probably struggle to this day to recognize what's happening in you. We've never spent enough time or had enough attention put on what's happening inside of us, and our kids haven't either. We've never been trained to go, wait, you're angry. What's happening inside your mind right now? What's happening in your heart right now? What are you really afraid of? What are you really dealing with? Man, we need to be able to help our kids understand their fears and their emotions and their insecurities. We need them to know about who they are in Christ. We need them to learn about all these things so that they can hear from the Lord when He is speaking to their heart. We need to raise obedient kids for sure. We want them to obey, yes. We need to help them to understand that their behavior is out of line when it is. But we are shaping future adults. And we want them as adults to leave our home knowing how to pay attention to their heart. Something that, again, most of us as dads have never learned. I kind of like half jokingly tell this story a lot of where we were sitting around a campfire with some Christian men doing some stuff for Fight Club and talking about these very issues anyways. And I said to one guy, what are your emotions or something like that, talking about like how to get to the inside of what's happening in his life. And he goes, I have no idea. I have no idea how I feel. And he was so sincere. He goes, I don't know how to diagnose this or have this conversation. This is foreign to me to look internally and to go, wait, what am I feeling? And what is this really about? I've never done that. I have no idea what you're talking about. And we kind of laughed and then moved forward. And are trying to learn these things, but man, it hits home. I bet many of you listening to this can feel the same way. It's just like tapping into what's going on in the heart is tricky. And yet, let's not just go, therefore, I can't ever figure it out. Yes, you can. And yes, you should. And yes, you should parent that way too. How do you, yes, deal with behavior, but you get at the heart? This is really so critical. And we need to, as dads, number one, diagnose ourselves, figure ourselves out so that we can help our kids to go, yeah, this is like how it happens to me. When I get angry and I slow down and I start to say, God, what's happening inside me? Then all of a sudden I can find that and I can deal with the real issue, whatever, right? You learning to deal with it can translate into helping your kids learn to deal with it. And again, remember, you're not raising kids, you're raising future adults. And we want them to be as healthy as possible. And so learning to focus more on the heart than on the behavior is a really critical thing that I would focus a lot more on when I was a younger dad. And I certainly need to keep focusing on it now still today. Last one here, number 7. I said I would have let go of more of the small stuff. I don't know about you, but I tend to create tension in the house and frustration in the house because of things that are really probably pretty small. And this one is still tough for me, man. I don't know. I like clean spaces. I don't like things that are a mess. And my house is kind of messy, more than I would like it. If it was just me living in a home, it would be pretty stinking clean. But I have kids and they're not that way and they're not grown. They're not adults. And it's probably pretty small stuff, but you can probably hear it coming out of me. I struggle with this one. I still struggle with this one. And that's why it's something that's on this list. I need to learn still today clearly to let go of the small stuff. I'm trying to figure out, even as I say this to you here, just really, again, really clearly, how do I enforce rules? How do I help them grow up and still not sweat the small stuff? That's my tension. That's the battle here. And I'm clearly in the middle of trying to figure this one out. And I know, though, more than anything, I know that, again, my tension with that, my frustration with that, and my sweating the small stuff is an issue that makes my home worse, not better. That's what I know. And I have to deal with this. I've got to learn to say, look, if I want my house to be a happy place, I want there to be full of joy, I want there to be peace between us, I've got to figure out how to let go of the small stuff and yet still lead and help get better. And I'm working on that. Maybe you're working on that too. I think many of us, though, create unnecessary tension over things like the messes, the noise level, the tiny mistakes, or thinking that your kid ought to be responding to a situation like a grown adult when they're only a kid, right? Even a young adult, 18, 19, 20, whatever, like a lot of my older kids are, they're not full grown. They're not 49 years old. They're not going to respond like you necessarily think they ideally should, right? But yet I sweat it and act, why aren't you figuring this out? I've said this a million times, blah, blah, blah. And the answer is they're kids and they're sinners like you are. They make mistakes like you do. And so I really feel this one. That's why I wanted to put it last here. I mean, what are you doing to create the environment in your home that you desire? How much fun are you having versus how much criticism are you giving? How much of the small stuff are you making a big deal when really it probably shouldn't be at all? Man, I struggle. You can hear it. I struggle in that one. And it's one that I wish I could have done better. And it's one that I hope that from here I'll do better as well. What about you? What about you? Which of these areas of your life for you would you go, man, that's me? And like that one area for me is such a big deal. Maybe it's the small stuff like I was just talking about. Maybe it's just intentionally leading them spiritually. Maybe it's worrying less about climbing the corporate ladder and actually taking a demotion, not a promotion, so you can be more present. Maybe it's putting the phone down, like whatever that is. What is it for you? I want you to take to heart whatever these things are and just go, look, win at home, win where it matters most. You can be the most successful guy at your office and then look back years later and go, man, I failed with my kids. May that not be your story. And by the way, if that is part of your story, it's not the end of the story. If you're that dad that looks back and goes, yeah, this one is too late for me because my kids are in their 40s, my kids are grown, my kids are out of the house. Look, I just want to remind you, you're still here. If you're listening to this, you're still here and you still have time, right? It may be running out. That may be true, but don't take the negative approach with this. Take the positive and say, how do I win from here? If I just erased all the rest of it and said, I can't fix that, I can't go back to that, I can only go forward from here. How do you do that? How do you win from here? How do you live more intentionally? If you're a young father or one who's not even yet, but planning to, man, lay it out. Have a vision for the kind of home that you want to have, the spiritual leadership. How are you going to do that? Here's what I would encourage you. Get around great dads. This is going to be true for everybody at every stage, for me, for you, somebody 30 years older than me, right? Whatever it is, get around great dads and ask them questions. Maybe what you'll do is say, hey, I was listening to this podcast the other day, the Nate Whitson podcast, and he was talking about 7 things that he would do different as a dad. And I'm just curious, what might that be for you? What are some of the things that you've learned? What a great conversation to have with a dad that you look up to. And so find great dads, be around great dads, take them to lunch, get involved in their Bible studies, whatever that might be. But get around great dads. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to live intentionally. Many of us are just flying through life. We're flying through life and we're missing so much. And it's causing us to look back and go, oh, man, I wish I would have. I don't want you to live with any more regret than you have to as a dad. And we're all going to mess up. We need the grace of God so much in every area of our life. And thank God that he is graceful. Thank God that he is sovereign. Thank God that he loves you and he loves your kids more than you do. Thank God for that, because you don't have to be perfect. He is. And he wants you involved and deeply committed to him. He wants you on your knees before him, praying for your kids, praying for yourself, praying for your marriage. He wants you connected to him so that he can, through you, represent Christ to your kids and to your grandkids and to the world. But yeah, it's okay that you're broken. He works great with broken men who want to win as dads. And so I'm just saying, be intentional, not perfect, be intentional. Which of these 7 things strikes you most? And start there. And then get better there a little bit. And then be intentional in the next thing and be intentional in the next thing, right? It's not too late. No matter how screwed up you think it's been, no matter how much you live with regret today, I'm telling you, in some ways, put that aside and just go, okay, it's not over. They're still my kids. How do I get better from here? You can't erase all that, but you can keep fighting. So do now, today, what you wish you would have done back then, and then pray like crazy, right? But stay in the fight, dads. Keep loving your kids until the very end. And if you want to win where it matters most, maybe the 2 most important words that I want to leave you with is to live intentionally. That's it. Wake up and be an intentional dad and see what happens with the rest of your time from here on out. All right, that's it for today. Look forward to the next episode. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this if there's another dad that you think needs to hear this. But man, I'm praying for you. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here today and listening to the show. Please be sure to head over to the website at getinthefight.club. And before you go, if you haven't already, please subscribe, click the like button, and leave us a positive 5-star review. It makes a huge difference whenever you do. Have a great day. Go get in the fight.